Hey guys, welcome back to an interesting video on Wild Rift. So today we are back with a Senna supplementary guide, and today we're going to be taking a look at the top ranked build on Senna. Now most of the top ranked builds all follow this kind of general build where you go into Iceborne Gauntlet, Spirit Visage, into Titanic Hydra, and another tank item, most of the time Frozen Heart. Now in the top 10 players, there is like one or two of them who didn't actually go for Titanic Hydra and they instead went for another tank item, so 4 full tank items on Senna. But personally, I think the Titanic Hydra makes a lot of sense, and we'll talk a little bit more about it. So first up, of course, you start off with your support item. With your support item, you are of course going to get a little bit of bonus AD, but mainly is you're going to be able to stack it up just by auto attacking. Of course, as I always mention, Relic Shield is an option as well, but the better option is normally Spectral Sickle, because you don't really want to proc onto minions, because you're going to get less chances of getting a soul. But as I mentioned, in certain lanes it is still better to go for Relic Shield because it's easier to stack up, because you don't have to walk up to auto attack. So your boots, you always want to go for defensive boots. Even when you're playing damage Senna, I think defensive boots is pretty much a must, because Senna is really squishy. So most of the time it's going to be the plated steel caps, because it synergizes with other items like the Iceborne Gauntlet, and it's just better in general because most of the time you're going to be facing an AD carry on the enemy side in lane, so it's going to help you to mitigate their damage by quite a bit. Then you go into the first item, the Iceborne Gauntlet. The Iceborne Gauntlet gives you health, armor, mana, and ability haste, all good stats. And it gives you a Spellblade passive, which is going to allow you to do a little bit of damage as well as to create a slow field. So, next up, we go for Spirit Visage. Now, the main point of Spirit Visage is really for your tankiness against AP. So you can skip this if the enemy team has no AP, but majority of matches there is going to be at least one form of AP. So this is going to give you health, magic resist, ability haste, and it's going to increase the healing and shielding effects on yourself by 30%, not your allies but yourself. So you're going to heal yourself more on your Q and shield yourself more on your ultimate. Overall, it's just going to make you more tanky. So now, we have a lot of tankiness, but we don't have a lot of damage. Like, our damage mainly comes from the Iceborne Gauntlet as well as our passive. So now we're going to convert all that tankiness into damage with the Titanic Hydra. So Titanic Hydra, of course, is going to give you AD equivalent to 15 plus 2.5% of your bonus health. And if you take a look at the build, we have 150 here, we have 250 here, 350 here, and 550 here. So this is going to total up so quite a decent amount of AD, and it's also going to give you that extra passive where of course it's going to deal the bonus like cleave damage once every 1.75 seconds. So every third auto attack, every first and third and fifth, every odd numbered auto attack is pretty much going to proc the Titanic Hydra, because Senna has really low attack speed anyways. And finally, as your last item, you want to get another defensive item. Generally, it's going to be Iceborne Gauntlet, because in most matches, there are multiple champions that auto-attack quickly. If there's like only one auto-attack champion, maybe you can swap this up for something else. But this is going to give you, again, more armor, mana, and ability haste. Of course, mana and ability haste are also important stats on Senna. Like, you get, you get mana from here as well, because she uses up a lot of mana, so the mana is helpful. Ability haste to spam spells really good as well. Of course, you do have some other last item options. Here, like your Twin Guard, for example. You can even go for a Thorn Mail if you need the anti-healing and you are getting attacked. If you need anti-healing and you're not getting attacked, I actually don't think that More Reminder might be the best. I actually think Kempang Chainsword is probably going to be better. I just copied this build directly from the top Senna, so these are the alternative items that he has. And of course, something like a GA could help as well. Even like a Sterex for the shield could be useful. A little bit more selfish item, Randuin's Omen, is going to help you to negate a lot of crit damage, things like that. So for the spells, we go for Glacial Augment. Now, I'm generally not a big fan of Glacial Augment because I feel that for multiple reasons. Like, number one, I think that there are better runes to take on Senna. But number two, you already have the slow from the Iceborne Gauntlet. So why do you really need the Glacial Augment? Where for this, there's actually a couple of reasons. Firstly, you can reduce the enemy's damage, which of course is always going to be helpful. Secondly, especially in lane, when you hit a W and the Glacial Augment procs, it's going to slow down enemies by a lot, and this will lead to kills a lot of the time. So Glacial Augment really useful in lane. In the later parts of the game, the Glacial Augment slow together with the Iceborne Gauntlet slow together can also be very helpful. So that can work out very well as well. So now for our minor runes, we're actually taking Domination Tree. Now you might be thinking, why not, why not Precision Tree? Well, the main issue with Precision Tree is runes like, for example, Giant Slayer allows you to do more damage to tanky targets, but in the first place you have to do damage. With this build, you're not actually doing that much damage, so it's not really very valuable to go for Precision. So it's better to go Domination, because Domination gives you more flat damage overall. So you're going to take Shield Bash, which after healing or shielding you will do bonus damage, which is pretty much all the time with Senna. The only main thing that's limiting you is the 7-second cooldown, but you're not going to proc it whenever it is up. Empowered attack, every 10 seconds you will get a attack with a bit of bonus damage. Now, it's not really the best, but there aren't really better options like Cheap Shot and Mark of the Week, is worse options overall. So the best option you have here is Empowered attack. And lastly, Eyeball Collection, just to stack up your AP. Of course, Zombie Ward an option as well, but really unreliable in solo queue because your teammates won't necessarily give you ward kills. And of course here we have Bone Plating for the defensive capabilities. Now you can also go for other runes like Giant Slayer here, or even Hex Splash if you like that. But Bone Plating the most consistent. And of course for summoner spells we have Flash and we have Heal since you're playing support. You can also go for like Exhaust if your ADC goes for Ghost and Exhaust is needed. Runes like that. But with all that said, let's move on to our gameplay. Okay, so now we're hopping into the gameplay itself. We just picked up our third Senna skin. We just got the Star Guardian Senna from a chest, the one you get from the Wild Pass. Actually, it's kind of interesting that they count Senna as an ADC in that chest. But anyways, here we are, of course, playing Senna support. And when you're playing the tanky utility Senna support, as I said, she pretty much fits into majority of team comps. Now, ideally, you want to have a front line, but you can see in this game we don't really have a solid front line. Like, yeah. Champions like Yasuo and Fiora are likely to be in front of like me and Varus, for example, but I hardly count them as frontline because they aren't really, they aren't really like, like an Aatrox or a Garen or something like that. Not real like tanky champions, but they are going to be in front now. Yeah, it doesn't really matter because, as I said, you're building tank, you're building utility, so you're going to be fine. Now here, I completely troll the game by just walking up when Pyke still has hook, and I just get hooked in and kind of die like an idiot, to be honest. And also I use both my summoner spells, so a pretty horrible start to the game. If I was like this Varus in solo queue and I see my Senna doing something like that, I'm gonna completely lose my mind. Like, what is this guy doing? He's just completely trolling the game. And here, the Pyke goes in. I managed to root him, Glacial Augment proc, so he's getting slowed down. He's not gonna be able to get out. And I'm barely able to save the Varus. I'm now just chasing onto the Caitlyn, but the minion wave is pretty huge, so I'm gonna have to kind of back off after that. Picking up, of course, the souls to continue stacking. Now, Senna, of course, as we know, is a very strong late game carry, but what a lot of people don't know is that in early game she's pretty strong as well. Senna actually has the second highest base range in the game. The only one higher than her is going to be Caitlyn. She has the same range as Ashe, so she actually can bully champions really easily. Of course not Caitlyn, but here we can normally bully like especially the engagers like the Leonas and the Nautiluses, so long as you don't get engaged on. Even like Pyke here, for example, so long as you don't get engaged on, you can bully them quite easily. But in this game it's a little bit dangerous because we do have Caitlyn, the only champion with higher range than us, and we also have Pyke, who has a very dangerous hook, as you guys could see from the one death that I already took, not to be trifled with. So here we control ward because we know Pyke is going to come back down from mid, so we want to spot him when he comes off of the rotation. And here we're just trying to zone Caitlyn away from the minions, although not very successfully because you can see she can just pick it up using her Q. But here you can see Pyke is rotating back down because of the control ward I placed earlier. I somehow managed to step into a trap while looking at the minimap. I get a route onto the Pyke under tower, so it doesn't really quite matter because Varus can't really follow up anyways. Here we get into a kind of a trade with Caitlyn, but she has like her headshot ready, so there's no way we're winning that trade. The only good news about this trade is that we can actually sustain. So sometimes taking bad trades on Senna, will end up being good trades if you don't fight, because you will heal up, in the grand scheme of things. Here Pyke goes in ham, but we are able to again land the root onto him, and the Glacial Augment comes in again to kind of secure the kill because he cannot run away. So I guess this game kind of really shows you why Glacial Augment is good on Senna. Simply because in lane you get a lot of value from it and people cannot escape. But I really feel that the rune kind of, I wouldn't say falls off. Here Rammus comes in for a gank, I'm gonna have to flash away. Here Varus actually gets the root and the burst, and I'm able to finish off Caitlyn with the ult, so we end up trading 1 for 1. I wouldn't say it falls off because it does scale off of her bonus health. the slow and all. But I would say that it is good in the later stages of the game, but I think that other runes are better, in the later stages of the game. Like if you're going for like this kind of tanky build, I think Grasp is gonna help you deal a lot of extra damage because you have so much health. It's gonna help you do a lot extra. But I guess you could say Glacial is a lot more supportive because at the end of the day, you're helping your team with the slows and you're helping them secure kills. Things like that. But honestly, at the end of the game, you will see that just building full tank on Senna, you still do an insane amount of damage despite the fact you're building only tank items. Like, it's actually kind of nuts how much damage this build does. Which is why I mostly think that the tank utility Senna is just way better than, the carry Senna. Because carry Senna is like super duper squishy, you're basically just a second ADC. Although I would say that the Vitality Senna is a little bit better than like the full carry like with Mana Mune kind of build Senna, because at least that build is a little bit cheaper, but again you are very very squishy, so you will die very very easily, which is not really what you want. So here Pyke is missing, we are just grabbing the wave and grabbing the souls. Both objectives are going to be coming up really soon. However, Evelyn is kind of getting caught by Vladimir, and that's our jungler, so that's not too good. Here Varus goes in, I go in with the ulti for the shield, and Varus is taking a lot of damage. For some reason Pyke actually ults me instead of the Varus. I think that was like an auto target error or something like that, and now Pyke is really low. I'm trying to finish him off. I get the kill onto him, and Caitlyn nearly kills me, but I'm able to use the E and Shroud out of the way, which baits Caitlyn in long enough for Yasuo to come off the rotation. Yasuo flashes forward for the Caitlyn. I try to root the Rammus but kind of fail. Rammus ults back out, and I'm trying to deal damage to the Rammus and heal the Yasuo at the same time. Yasuo hits the tornado, goes in with the ulti but dies to the tower shot, and eventually the Evelyn kills him, I believe from red buff, because she wasn't anywhere near him. So red buff, I believe, picks up the kill, and now I'm pretty low on resources, so I kind of want to back. Vladimir comes in, and I hit him with the W, which forces him to pull. Now here, important part is I flash away from his E, because you can see that the second part of his ult deals a lot of damage, and with that E hitting, I believe that I die. So I obviously don't want that to happen, so I have to blow my flash to remain safe. I'm like less than 200 gold away from getting the Iceborne Gauntlet. But I do have the plated steel caps in this match. Of course, the enemy team has 4 AD champions, so plated steel caps very very valuable purchase. You can see that in my team we have 3 plated steel caps to counter the enemy team. Of course, the Varus and Evelyn not going for plated steel caps is pretty logical. Here I catch the Pyke / Pyke catches me. Both kind of goes both ways, but I end up dying. Pyke ends up dying as well, so it's a 1-for-1 trade of the supports. Varus actually survives, at least for the time being, but he is pretty low. He is getting burned down by red buff, so he was trying to back, but he is not actually backing, so he kind of trolls a little bit here. I'm gonna pan over to the Herald to see what's happening over there. In the meantime, Caitlyn, I believe, kills Varus under tower with the ultimate, and yeah, that's kind of yikes. Varus not really paying attention, doesn't really realize that he's not backing, and ends up just dying for his sins, basically. So here, we're roaming down to bot lane with our Evelyn. See if we can make a play onto the Caitlyn, but Control Ward spots out the Evelyn, unfortunately, and the enemy team does have 3 Control Wards to counter Evelyn, which is exactly what you're supposed to do when you're playing against Evelyn, so well played by the enemy team. Here, since Varus can't get the farm anyways, I'm just going to pick up the farm. Does kind of prevent me from getting souls, but the wasted goal is probably even worse. So here I Q the wave to kind of soften it up for Varus to finish off. I'm going to pick up the 3 souls, get the Control Ward, and we are looking to reset, actually, because we do want to complete Iceborne Gauntlet, but Yasuo is here on the rotation, so we don't really want to waste our teammates' time or waste a potential opportunity, so we are kind of sticking around to see if a fight breaks out. Yasuo is trying to force it, dashes in with the wind wall, and nothing too much else happens. Now Yasuo is recalling, I'm just going to recall as well, and so is Varus. Now Yasuo's recall gets cancelled, but I'm just going to complete my recall because I don't really think a fight is going to break out. I complete both my Iceborne Gauntlet and my Locket, so huge item power spikes coming in. Of course, Locket is a very strong enchant for yourself and your team, especially when you combine it with your ultimate. Huge shield across the board blocks a lot of damage. Like think about, like for example, if Diana goes in with her ultimate and then you lock it and ulti at the same time, like that ultimate is going to be doing nothing. I mean, just because of the huge shields. Of course, another item option you have is also the rejuvenation enchant, which is of course going to increase your healing and shielding on the team. Here we go in with the ulti, help out our team with the shields. I actually flash forward to try to finish off Caitlyn, but Caitlyn manages to escape anyways, and now Rammus is getting focused down by my team. Here I'm just walking past the tower to help to focus the Rammus. Rammus ends up dying, and Varus' arrow actually catches the 1 HP Caitlyn under her second tier tower. Now Vladimir comes in with the ulti, pulls to avoid my W, and here me and Yasuo are trying to focus down Vladimir. Now Vladimir is really low, does have Grievous Wounds on, but manages to heal up enough from his Q, so I am not able to finish him. Of course, I don't do enough damage because I'm building tank, so we're not going to be doing the most amount of damage here, so it's kind of understandable that we aren't quite able to finish the kill. So here we back and start building towards the Spirit Visage. Now Spirit Visage of course is an amazing item for Senna because it is, you know, going to help her heal herself and shield herself by so much more. Just enhances the survivability of Senna by a lot. But of course, you know, in compensation, because you're not going for like a maul or something like that, you are going to be doing a lot less damage. But you are going to be a lot more tanky. So again, ties into the utility Senna. Here I see Fiora kind of just chasing in. Just getting some free souls on the Rammus. 3 souls from the Raptors as well. Pretty nice. Here I ult across just because Varus ulted there. I give him the shield and I think that actually helps him to survive. And here now I'm the one that's in trouble, so I'm gonna have to quickly backtrack out of the way. Now these people are way too tanky. I'm doing no damage to Urgot and Rammus because they are kind of building full tanks. I'm really not doing any damage to them at the moment at all. So I'm gonna need like my Yasuo and my Varus to really be the ones to shred down the tanks, you know, with their AD. Here, my team going for the dragon, and dragon is pretty much already taken. So I'm just gonna go here, pick up some extra souls. My whole team goes to mid, and the fight kind of breaks out. No time to pick up the souls from the dragon because we need to rush over to mid to help our team. And we reach there kind of just in time. Makes Vladimir panic and flash away when I don't actually think he needed to flash. And we are able to escort our team out with blinking health bars. Evelyn was trying to go on a long flank, but doesn't really work out. Another control ward spots the Evelyn, and we're gonna have to get rid of that. Alright, so we were intending to reset, but we want to pick up this blue buff. Of course, blue buff is very useful on Senna because you get a lot of extra mana and you know, ability haste to cast more spells. And in this team, honestly, no one really needs blue buff. Maybe Varus would be good with blue buff, but definitely Yasuo and Fiora doesn't really need blue buff. And honestly, I think blue buff probably more useful on Senna compared to Varus, but that's a little bit debatable because I also play Varus. I think blue buff is pretty good on Varus. Varus with a very interesting build though. He has like shield bow into Essence Reaver. It's kind of a little bit counter intuitive because he's kind of going for on hit and poke at the same time, which is a little bit strange. But yeah. So here Yasuo goes onto Vladimir, but Vladimir is a very hard target to lock down because he has his pool. So we probably aren't going to get too much from it. We do zone him away to try to pick up the blue buff though. And he does get the blue buff. Rammus ignores the blue buff and instead goes straight for the Varus, but we are here to back him up. Unfortunately, I'm not able to save his life. I didn't pop the heal fast enough, so it doesn't really quite work out. But we are able to trade the kill. Yasuo is now in on the chase. And I'm just trying to do damage as well as heal at the same time, which is exactly what I'm doing right now. And we are able to pick up the additional kill onto the Pike. Now we are going to pick up this tower, and yeah, so we're happy with the picks, happy with the tower, and now we are going to recall. We pick up our Spirit Visage as well as an additional Ruby Crystal. Of course, we're not going to be doing the most damage, but we are, of course, full of utility for our team with the ults, with the heals, all the good stuff. And we do even do a decent amount of damage. Like, it's not that we do no damage, we just do less damage than if we had a little bit more AD in our build. We don't have like any AD in our build except for like from the support item, ironically. Here I try to steal the red buff from Rammus, but it doesn't really work out. And the fight kind of breaks out, Yasuo gets hooked in. And here I'm just trying to free fire. We camp in this bush, and someone probably is going to face check. Urgot face checks, gets double rooted by me and Varus, and then by Fiora. I out for the damage and shield, but turns out it wasn't really needed, and the fight kind of breaks out behind us. I'm just kind of trying to attack whoever I can. I reposition. Varus is in a little bit of a tight spot. He's getting focused down. You can see I'm popping my Qs every time it's up to kind of try to save him, but eventually Pyke does get him with the ultimate. And in the end, Pyke is the last man standing, and me and Fiora are still alive. Now, me and Pyke are in a wet noodle fight. No one really does damage to the other because Pyke is building full lethality, but I have multiple armor items, so he's doing no damage to me. But since I'm building tank, I'm doing no damage to him either, so it's kind of like no one is doing damage to the other. It's just kind of awkward. So in the end, Pyke is going to go back to bot lane. I'm going to push mid, and Fiora is going to push top. I'm just doing this because Baron is up and Dragon's coming up, so we can get mid lane priority, and with the last of my mana, I push out the wave, and then I'm going to recall, and of course just regain my resources being my mana. Now, the biggest power spike you have with the Senna build is when you complete your Titanic Hydra. Because Titanic Hydra, of course, is going to finally convert all the defensive stats you have into damage, and that's really where you finally start to do damage. And you can actually be more useful than just purely heals and shields. You can start to actually be a useful damage source as well. So I'm kind of waiting to get to that point, which is of course going to take some time. Here Pyke goes in with the hook again. Rammus taunts me, but he does like 0 damage. Here I'm just trying to focus the Pyke. And then I actually root the Vladimir by accident, but that kind of just works out. Vladimir pulls anyway, so we're not going to be able to get him. And here I'm popping the shot to go help the Fiora. I slow the Pyke down with the Iceborne Gauntlet, and we pick up the kill. Now we can slowly back off. We have a pick onto the Pyke and Rammus, but our Evelynn did die, so both junglers are down. But we do have the numbers advantage at the Dragon. My team picks up the Dragon. I know I'm not needed, so I'm just going to recall. Finally pick up my Titanic Hydra, and hopefully we can see how the Titanic Hydra kind of changes this completely, where you are finally going to start to actually do damage. Or not do damage, but do meaningful damage, because you have always done damage, of course you can see. Just against the minions, now we are doing a little bit more damage. I wouldn't say a lot more damage, but at least a little bit. Here we let Yasuo get the last hits, and we just pick up the souls. My team is kind of split at the moment. I'm going to get this control ward so it doesn't spot Evelynn later on. And I'm going to just ward Baron to ensure that we have vision of Baron. Just kind of softening up the mid wave, letting Yasuo collect it and collecting more and more souls. I think we're at like 100 plus souls at this point, so we are pretty strong. And since Varus is not moving to take this red buff, I'm actually going to take it myself. However, this is going to mean I'm a little bit late to the fight that's starting at the top lane. So I'm trying to run there as quickly as I can. I use the ulti to help my team a little bit. And now I'm trying to catch up. I'm going in by the long way to kind of get into a kind of semi-flanking position. But my team is not really in position, so I'm going to have to walk back to join my team because I don't want to go in myself. And now here, I'm just trying to DPS with the Titanic Hydra and such. Vladimir is trying to go in and do his best, but he gets executed by the Evelynn ultimate, and only Caitlyn is left alive at this point. Now Baron looks like it's probably going to be the play here. We do have Varus alive, Evelynn alive, and myself, so we can definitely grab the Baron. Now here the enemy team definitely knows we're doing it, but here I'm actually staying over the wall because only Caitlyn can be alive, and Caitlyn can't kill me instantly, so here I'm more or less just zoning off any possible Caitlyn steal attempt, but she doesn't really show up anyway, so I'm just going to walk back to my team, pick up the souls, and return back to base to go for the Frozen Heart. Frozen Heart in this game really counters Caitlyn the most. I think it works on Urgot. I'm not sure if it works on Urgot W as well, to be honest. I'm not sure if that works. But yeah, I mean, couldn't really think of a much better item. I guess you could go for like Twin Guard, but yeah, you know, Twin Guard is only helps yourself, whereas at least Frozen Heart helps your team. So you know that's the more supportive item. So here, Pike pulls me in, but you can see I'm taking no damage from him because I'm so tanky at this point. Pike is rarely ever gonna do anything to me. Honestly, like Pike, Rammus, and like Urgot probably won't really do damage to me. It's really only the two carries that can really do damage. Here you can see I'm just kind of standing in the middle and I'm really not even taking any damage. Elder Dragon is secured by Evelyn, and the whole enemy team is evaporating to the Elder Dragon. Only Caitlyn is left alive. So pretty much the game should be over at this point. We just need to run down mid with Baron and Elder and just finish off the game. Caitlyn definitely can't defend, can't defend us. So it's pretty much the game is won at this point. If someone lands CC onto the Caitlyn, we will get a free kill onto Caitlyn as well, but it doesn't look like it's gonna happen. Yeah, so we will just end the game like so. So I'm gonna leave you guys with the stats as usual. Thank you guys so much for watching, and goodbye.